Hi there, my name is Ryan Whitt, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of some of the historic or interesting parts of Ashland, Kentucky. Here we are at the Ashland Central Park Native American Burial Mounds. These mounds were created to house the bodies of the dead, as well as various tools and belongings after they passed. These mounds have been around for well over 100 years and are a cornerstone of Ashland. As Ashland was built, a lot of Native American structures were demolished to make room for more modern buildings, roads, and other parts of the town. But we still have these 5 mounds in the center of the city that have been protected since Ashland was founded, albeit by some pretty loose fencing. And over here on the other side, we still have a fully functional park built on the other side and all around these burial mounds. Even though society has progressed past the Native American lifestyles, we still pay respect to their culture and history through these burial mounds. This is the Ashland Central Park Pond. This was constructed in 1995 by the City Commission and Park Board. Over there, we have buried the Ashland time capsule. You can't really see it because it's underground. I'm not even sure really which plot of land it's buried in. Just somewhere over there next to the pond is the Ashland time capsule, set to be opened after 100 years. It was buried in 2000. It was funded by the John Abstein Funeral Home. Over here is a very interesting part of Ashland. I think the pond is very beautiful, and it's a really attractive spot for guests to come year-round, but especially at prom. If you take a look over here behind you, this gazebo doesn't have much historical significance. However, it is the #1 spot when it comes to homecoming and prom for young women and men to come and get their pictures taken. Because, I mean, just look at it. This is one of the prettiest spots in Ashland. You get the fountain in the background, and it just makes for a lovely picture. Here I am at the Charles and Betty Russell Hiking Trail. This trail starts at the bottom of what is known locally as Ashland Hill, right above Central Park, where we just were. And then it snakes around the underbelly of the hill, coming up across the street multiple times before making its way up to the top of the hill. If you look over here, there's a map present at the top of all of these trails that shows you all of the interconnecting paths going from all the way up here all the way to the bottom of the hill. It's a very nice place that doesn't really lead to anything. As you can see, it just lets out into the road, but it's kind of just a fun nature hike to go up and walk around these trails. There's no caves or anything like that, just a couple bridges crossing over a creek or two. Another historical monument in Ashland, Kentucky is this, an old train station. It's not used often anymore outside of the occasional Greyhound. We still have here a relic of the past, this chassis system train that's been moored here off the tracks for years. Over there are still the train tracks, but it's more so just for delivering coal and other items further along the tracks. Again, nothing but Greyhounds stop here. But it's a pretty cool place that holds a very old part of our history. And then, if you look over here, you can see where we have along these walls over here several murals. They go on down the wall this way, and they celebrate different things. The one here in front of me celebrates Veterans Day. It's a nice way to cherish and celebrate the different kinds of people who exist in Ashland. And here we are at our final stop at the Ashland Riverfront Park. Here before us we have 3 statues, Venus, Genesis, and Vulcan. These 3 statues were made by a foreign artist who came to Ashland a few years prior, and he had fallen in love with the place. He wanted to make something to commemorate his time here. These 3 pieces were added just around the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, around January of last year, but they had been planned to be added here since early 2018. They sit right on the cusp of the Ohio River behind you, which is not all that pretty to look at. But sometimes nothing feels better than just sitting on the river and watching the waves roll on by. While there are plenty more historical areas, figures, items, and places we could talk about, I think that's all the time I have for today. So thank you for joining me on this tour of Ashland, Kentucky.